Looking in the mirror, he saw a man who was fading away, a shadow of the person he was meant to be. One afternoon, the sky turned a bruised purple and the wind howled, warning the town of a severe storm approaching fast. Welcome to Infinite Heart Stories, where we explore the profound journeys of ordinary people finding extraordinary wisdom in their daily lives. Meet Daniel, a man with a heart of gold, who believed that the only way to be loved was serving others. From the moment he woke up, Daniel was always ready to lend a hand, regardless of how busy his own schedule was. He carried heavy groceries for the elderly and fixed leaking pipes for friends, never once asking for anything in return from them. His phone rang constantly with requests for help, and the word yes was the only answer that ever left his lips. However, while he was busy building the lives of everyone around him, his own sanctuary was slowly falling into disrepair. The fence in his front yard was broken and leaning, a silent testament to the time he did not have for himself. Inside, the chaos was even worse, with piles of unwashed dishes and laundry serving as reminders of his total self-neglect. At the end of each long day, Daniel collapsed into his chair, feeling a deep exhaustion that sleep could not fix. He was fixing the roofs of strangers while water dripped onto his own floor, yet he could not stop helping them. People loved him for his utility, but few stopped to ask how he was doing or if he needed help himself. Looking in the mirror, he saw a man who was fading away, a shadow of the person he was meant to be. One afternoon, the sky turned a bruised purple and the wind howled, warning the town of a severe storm approaching fast. The winds picked up speed, tearing through the streets and threatening to damage everything that was not securely tied down. As the first drops of rain fell, his phone began to ring off the hook, with neighbors begging for his assistance. Without a second thought, Daniel donned his raincoat and rushed out into the storm, leaving his own home completely unprotected. He spent hours battling the elements, securing shutters and moving outdoor furniture for friends who watched safely from their windows. He pushed cars out of mud and cleared debris from driveways, ignoring the cold rain soaking him to the very bone. When the storm finally passed, Daniel trudged back to his own property, his body aching and his energy completely drained. He stopped dead in his tracks as he saw the devastation that had occurred in his own yard while he was away. His favorite rose bushes were snapped in half, and the old oak tree branch had fallen, crushing his front porch railing. He knelt in the mud, holding the broken stem of a flower, feeling a sudden surge of resentment and deep sorrow. Looking across the fence, he saw his neighbors laughing and relaxing in their safe homes, oblivious to his personal disaster. A hollow feeling expanded in his chest, and he realized he had nothing left to give because he had saved nothing. Desperate for guidance, Daniel walked to the edge of town to visit Mr. Harris, a retired teacher known for his wisdom. Mr. Harris sat on his porch, a book in hand, and welcomed the exhausted younger man with a knowing, gentle smile. Daniel sat down and poured out his frustrations, explaining how he helped everyone but felt completely empty and used inside. The old teacher listened without interrupting. Then he picked up a teapot and placed a single empty cup between them. He began to pour the hot tea, continuing even after the cup was full, letting the liquid spill all over the table. Daniel jumped up in surprise and shouted for him to stop, watching the tea go to waste on the wooden floor. Harris looked deep into Daniel's tired eyes and said that true kindness requires a foundation of self-respect and personal boundaries. He explained that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and Daniel had been trying to give what he did not possess. The teacher gave him a challenge for the next 7 days. Stop and ask if helping hurts his own peace. Daniel was terrified of looking selfish, but he knew he could not continue living his life as a servant to everyone. The very next morning, a neighbor came by asking Daniel to fix a broken lawnmower right in the middle of breakfast. Daniel felt his heart race, but he politely declined, saying he needed to focus on cleaning up his own storm damage. The neighbor was surprised, but simply nodded and walked away, and Daniel realized the sky did not fall because he said no. He spent that afternoon clearing the debris from his yard, feeling a strange sense of pride in working for his own benefit. On the second day, he let the phone ring while he painted his fence, reclaiming the time he usually gave away. He visited the nursery and bought vibrant new flowers, choosing colors that brought him joy rather than what others would like. When a friend asked for help moving, Daniel said he was unavailable, but offered a glass of lemonade and a friendly chat. To his surprise, the friend stayed and talked, and they connected on a human level rather than a transactional one. By the fourth day, Daniel was up on his roof, fixing the leak, whistling a tune he hadn't heard in years. Neighbors walked by and saw a man who valued himself, and their gaze shifted from expectation to a newfound respect. He took time to read a book in his garden, enjoying the silence that he used to fill with busy work. He declined a loud party invitation to cook a healthy meal for himself, nourishing his body as well as his spirit. On the seventh day, the man in the mirror looked different. His eyes were bright, and his posture was strong and upright. His home was transformed, with a sturdy fence and blooming flowers that represented the boundaries and beauty he had cultivated inside. As he walked through town, people waved with genuine warmth, no longer seeing him as a tool, but as a neighbor. He returned to Mr. Harris, not as a broken man, but as a friend, ready to share a balanced cup of tea. He realized that by saying no to others, he was actually saying yes to his own health, sanity, and happiness. He still helped people, like getting a ball from a tree, but he did it from a place of abundance, not obligation. Daniel learned that setting boundaries didn't push people away, it actually taught them how to treat him with greater respect. A healthy boundary is like a garden fence. It defines your space and protects the beautiful things you grow within it. By stepping back, Daniel also allowed his neighbors to grow, learning to solve their own problems instead of relying on him. He shifted from being a servant to being a teacher, empowering others to help themselves rather than carrying their burdens alone. The heavy weight on his shoulders was gone, replaced by a lightness that allowed him to breathe freely for the first time. His hands were no longer stained with the grease of other people's problems, but ready to build his own future. He hosted a barbecue in his restored garden, and his friends came to enjoy his company, not to ask for favors. His laughter rang out clear and true, a sound that came from a man who was finally living his own life. He kept his cup full, sharing only the overflow, ensuring that he always had enough energy to sustain his own well-being. Please remember that saying no is not an act of selfishness, but a necessary act of self-preservation and self-respect. When you value your own time, the world begins to value it too, and your relationships become healthier and more authentic. Don't let your garden wither while you are busy watering everyone else's. You deserve to bloom just as much as they do. Closing your gate at night doesn't mean you hate the world. It means you love yourself enough to rest and recover. Your energy is a limited resource, so spend it wisely on things that matter, starting with your own peace of mind. If you see yourself in Daniel's story, take a moment to pause and ask yourself if your cup is running empty. Time is the one thing you can never get back, so do not give it away to those who do not appreciate it. Start small today by setting one boundary, and watch how your life begins to transform into something manageable and joyful. Rest is not a reward for working hard. It is a vital requirement for being a healthy and functioning human being. Every sunrise is a new opportunity to choose yourself, to say yes to your needs, and to live a balanced life. You have the power to change your story, just like Daniel did, by simply learning the power of the word no. Let your life become a garden that you tend to with love, and invite others in only when you are ready. We hope Daniel's journey inspires you to find your own balance and to protect the precious sanctuary of your own life. Thank you for watching Infinite Heart Stories. Remember to value your own peace as much as you value helping other people.